the Giants. We have the Giants on Thursday. They are obviously dealing with some attrition, with the headliner obviously being Saquon Barkley, followed by a pair of offensive linemen on the left side, that being Ben Bredesen and Andrew Thomas at tackle, as well as Aziz Ajulari. So they are obviously dealing with some injuries. They were already having difficulty stacking up, some victories. They barely squeezed out a victory in Arizona. So the question is, are we in for a big blowout against a non-divisional opponent of the Giants, or are we in for a rude awakening or something in between?
Dude, I'll be honest. Every Thursday night game, I just expect ugly football because
Me
that's
too.
pretty much been the what we can expect, right? And I'd like to say the Niners are going to throttle them, and the game will be over by halftime. But man, like these short weeks, even for good teams, it can be really, really disgusting football at times. And so we're talking about overthrows and miscues and stuff. If there's ever a time for it to happen, this might be it. And
Yep.
then Daniel Jones, they don't call Daniel Jones Vanilla Vic for no reason, right? Like the guy
Yes,
has a little bit of
sir. Yes,
little bit of
yes, sir.
and the Niners obviously have had, and it's not just the 49ers, right? But the Niners defense has been so good that whenever they do struggle with a mobile quarterback, it's like, oh, well, this is their one weakness. What's a weakness?
Totally.
Right? Like it's hard to keep quarterbacks that are fast from running away from you. Like that's just, it happens to everybody. So I think this could be a sneaky game where I would be very surprised if the 49ers lost, but I would not be surprised at all if it's, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they're still having to, like they're in a tight game. That's a one-score game. I don't think this is going to be a situation where they come out and win by 3 touchdowns and it's a blowout and Sam Darnold's getting a ton of snaps because the game's over in the third quarter. I just think that it's very hard to expect that, especially after the hard-fought game they had against a divisional opponent. They've been on the road the last 2 weeks. They've only had a couple days to kind of acclimate. So I'm just going to assume it's going to be an ugly football game that's not very aesthetically pleasing. Outside of the uniform, all-time uniform matchup, though. The Giants wearing their throwbacks, the Niners in their throwbacks. That might be the best thing we see on the field all night, honestly. Yeah, dude, maybe, I don't know if it's just, I don't know if I'm a coward for not being like, yeah, they're going to just blow them out, but I just have such a hard time on Thursday nights, dude. If it was a Sunday night game, I would be way more confident in that.
No, bro, you're so right, dude. Like Thursday night football games are like a vortex that were like created in the middle of a NFL schedule. And it's perfectly designed to make sure nobody is like fully healthy enough to be exciting. And everyone doesn't have enough sleep. And so all the games are so trash. Like somebody had brought up on Twitter, I forget the account, but they were like, well, why not just stack 2 Monday night football games and get rid of Thursday night football? Yes. Do that shit. This product sucks. You wanted to sell something to Amazon so bad and you gave them garbage. It's fucking awful. And I really hope at some point they reconsider this Thursday night football stuff, maybe when the contract is over. But in the meantime, whatever. There's a fucking game. So here's what I'll say. I think there is a real possibility to get some separation and demoralize that team. Honestly, I think that's the key. If we could show up with more juice, because keep in mind, we flew from LA to the Bay. And yes, we're on short rest, but we are not flying across the country like they are. And if any team is going to have fatigue, it might be them. Now, they were in Arizona. I presume they flew back to New York. That's even more mileage on them. So all I'm saying is if we can show up with some juice, you know what I'm saying? Maybe get some fucking points on the board, demoralize them a little bit. Their offensive line is depleted. And we've got some pretty good players on the defensive line. So if we are able to put some pressure on the quarterback and make his life hell and prevent him from scrambling against our team, which for some reason our kryptonite is any quarterback that can run a 4.8, then we might be in business to run up the score a little bit. But you're right, nothing is guaranteed. It's a Thursday night football game, which is always a recipe for mid football. Is there anything to look out for? Are there any matchups that you are particularly concerned about, curious about, or interested to see as we show up on the field tomorrow?
I really do think, again, like Daniel Jones is such a polarizing quarterback, I think, because he's now making a lot of money, so he's being held to a different standard. And I think there's times where he doesn't look like a quarterback who I would feel comfortable spending that kind of money on. But he can have these moments where he does look like a dynamic playmaker. He's, able to use his athleticism, extend plays. He is a real legitimate rushing threat. And you get into these situations where it's maybe 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12 or something like that, and you're covering up really well on the back end, but he sneaks out, scrambles for a first down. Little things like that is what I would look out for more than any matchup schematically. Like Darren Waller is their best skill position player with Barkley out, and he's a very, very good player. But it's not one where I'm like, oh no, the Niners aren't going to have any answer to this. I would just be more concerned about kind of like the broken down plays. And It's really funny. I had a thought too, just from what you were saying, where I'm wondering like if these Thursday night games is just like the ultimate form of like hubris for the NFL, where they're like, we have a product that people are going to watch no matter what, and they like threw it out there, and it's like awful. A lot of it. Remember when they used to do the color rush uniform? So not only was the product horrible,
oh my god,
it was just it just everything about it sucked. And they're like, millions of people are watching this. Like, no matter what we do, people are going to watch. And I wonder if it's just this thing where they're like, just like, hey, like, why pull the plug on this? We know people are going to watch no matter what. And I think that's really what it comes down to is it's like this, just again, this excessive self-confidence where it's like, we know that we're the most dominant sport, in America. Like, people are going to watch this. We could put it on Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. and people would call home sick from work.
We can't let them win, dude. We can't let them win. Like, we have to draw the line at some point. I feel like this, like, I'm going to call it like an epidemic. Like, this epidemic of Thursday night football is fucking ass. And if at some point we're going to need to like sign a petition, like, we the people are sick of this awful fucking football, please stop it. Because our favorite players are getting injured. Nobody's having fun on the field or in the stadium or watching TV. And as soon as this Amazon contract is over, get it out of here. That's my feeling. By the way, note of correction, Rich Madrid, who happens to be the person I am most afraid of disappointing, says that the Giants stayed on the West Coast this weekend. So looks like they don't have as much wear on their tires. So who knows? Maybe they put up a good fight. They're certainly not doing the East Coast to West Coast travel. Looks like someone over there at the New York Giants organization thought about this ahead of time. So good for them. Maybe we're in for a better football game this time. I doubt it.